Hey, hey, what's happening out there, guys? Will Ripley here, tuning in live. Go ahead, grab your guitar, whether it's electric or acoustic. You know, a lot of people ask, do you teach electric or acoustic? Well, I say that they both have 6 strings, they're both tuned the same, so they have a lot in common. Definitely what we're going to be tackling in today's lesson is more acoustic focused, just because we're going to be talking about chord changing, how to change chords, how to switch chords, how to strum chords without the music stopping. And if you caught my live lesson last week, I talked about the secret to changing chords, which is this motion right before. It's basically the concept of leaving something early, like leaving your house early to get to a meeting on time. Well, what you want to do with chords is to leave one chord early and get to the next chord on time. So if you're into it, grab your guitar, drop me a comment, let me know that you're out there, let me know that you're alive and well. And what we'll do is we'll dig in, and I've got some song ideas for you here. And I can hear my baby crying outside right now. He always wants to come and hang out. Hey, what's up, Jim Hill? Tuning in from Melbourne. Not Melbourne, guys. Melbourne. Good to see you, man. Jim is one of our one-on-one students, so good to see you on the call. And what time is it in Australia? I guess it's, I don't even know. What time is it? It's like afternoon, maybe? Cool. What's up, Ted? Ted's tuning in from Cooperville, Michigan. Good to see you, Ted. How you been, man? Ted's also one of our one-on-one students. He's been doing some gigs lately by the looks of it. Let us know how those are going, Ted. Okay, guys, so just to keep on topic, and yeah, definitely drop in some notes. What's up, Steve? Good to see you. Cool, so it's 11 a.m. in Australia right now. Awesome. So it's 7:30 p.m. here in Calgary, Canada. Okay, so I got some song ideas for you guys. These songs are definitely, like, let me know. I hear this quite a bit from people. People want to be able to play songs from start to finish. That's like a goal, you know, especially for the beginner and intermediate guitar. So is that you? Let me know. That tends to be a goal that a lot of people have. And these are a couple of great songs that we'll cover in today's lesson. And what we'll talk about is Green Day's Time of Your Life. You know this one? And then I'm also like, I'm kind of noticing I'm getting the strumming mixed up because it's actually really, really similar to the other song that I wanted to show you, which is, name that song, guys. Yes, of course, is Brown Eyed Girl. You guys called that one. Cool. Darren's on the call. Chris Cornell in the house. Good to see ya. Evelyn, Lonnie, what's up, guys? Great to see you. Thanks for joining in. So yeah, grab your guitars. Let's talk about some chord changing, because obviously this is, in ways, it's kind of like a fundamental beginner thing. But I can tell you, since I've been teaching guitar since 2006, okay? And here we are, 2019, so I've been doing this for a while. So many people struggle with chords. And hey, you know what? It's okay. And even people that have been playing for a while, they still don't quite have this this thing down. So let's dig in. And if you remember last, for some of you, see that like Chris, for instance, was on the live call last week. And the secret to changing chords, as mentioned a few minutes ago, was the idea of leaving that chord early and getting to the next chord on time. So because these two songs both have a G and a C in it, let's just go ahead and put this to work so you can see for yourself how to change chords quickly on the guitar, okay? So we've got this G and a C add 9, okay? And these are two great chords to start with, okay? So why don't you just go ahead, gear those up, just start switching back and forth in between them, one strum each, maybe you wanna do whatever, just get that motion going on back and forth, okay? So get the G and C going on, and just know that the C add 9 here is essentially a synonymous chord, meaning it is a C chord here. Okay, so if you've ever played this C chord, then just know that, hey, here's these two fingers. Well, you just play them with these two fingers, add on an extra note, and but it is still absolutely totally in its core being a C chord, okay, a C major chord. It's just called a C add 9, C major with an added ninth. Okay, so anyways, as you can see, these two chords are just beautiful to change back and forth. They're easy to do. So just get that under your fingers, get those fingers warmed up, okay? And so what we were talking about last time was this this down, down, up, down, up strum pattern, which is the folk strum pattern. So if you know this already, great. You can just listen to me talk and just go through this. Just hang out, do some strumming right on this, okay? And of course, what I'm doing here is down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. And because we're live, because I'm simultaneously teaching 19 people, it says are watching now, so there's probably some of you that are out there that are being like, hey, wait a second, this isn't as easy as you're making it look, okay? And that's probably because you're not leaving the chord that you're on early enough to get to the next chord on time. Because what we want to do is do this strum pattern consistently. And this is actually a great way to practice your right hand. Just dampen the strings with your left hand. Just make them like, you know, just, you know, they all fall down dead on the strings. It's like, you know, and you just get that sound. So this is a great technique for practicing, like I said. I've been doing this quite a bit because I've really amped up my practice regiment. I've been practicing half an hour a day with the metronome, and specifically focusing on just a handful of exercises. And when my left hand gets fatigued, what I'll actually do is I'll just cover it and I'll still work on my picking hand. Okay, so when I'm just like working on my picking thing. So if that hand gets tired, or if I just really want to focus on my right hand, right, I can still totally get the same right hand workout by just muting the strings. And of course, it's just such a great funky rhythm technique. Okay, so anyways, so that strum pattern, of course, is 2 downstrokes, 2 upstrokes, and then a down up. So down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, okay? And then, like I said, you want to leave that chord early, and where that happens is on that last upstroke. So down, down, up, down, up. Right on that last upstroke, that's when you're gonna leave your fingers early off the chord. So you're still technically on that chord, but your fingers fly off so they can get to the next chord on time. Now this is the easiest way to practice this, because the thing is that when you're picking in an upwards direction, you're really focusing on the top part of the 6 strings. You know, you're really just, you're hitting the high E string first, right? If you think about the way that your right hand travels, right? It's going up towards the ceiling, so of course it's going to hit that high E string first. Okay, so you leave those fingers on, right? And you take these fingers off. So we've got, okay, and there it is right there, right on that last strum. That's where the secret happens. That's everything that you need to know about chord strumming done, okay? But it gets a little harder But as mentioned, having a G to C add 9 switch just dialed in, that's a great place to start for really anyone. And let me know, guys, do you have any other suggestions for 2 easy chords that go together? Like another one that you could do would be like E minor to an A sus2, which sounds really pretty, right? Could do that exact same strum pattern and that exact same technique, right? Cool, I see some unfamiliar names. So Ted, great to hear about the gigs, man. That's awesome. Mike Lewis, Paul Martin, and Mike, good to see you. Another one-on-one student tuning in. And Paul Martin says, hello, Canada. I guess you must know I'm in Canada. Anyways. Yeah, so those are just a couple of examples where you can just put this whole idea of changing chords quickly, okay, and just get music happening, right? Just get that right hand on autopilot, okay? Because it doesn't need to stop. Even if you do leave early enough, but your fingers don't land on the right chord, well, it's okay. Just keep it going and adjust your left hand until it's in the right spot, okay? And that's one of the biggest things that I can't emphasize enough, especially with beginner and intermediate guitar players, is the tendency of going, you know, you get that strum pattern down, everything's sounding good, and then you stop, switch, and then it starts again, okay? Unfortunately, if you are playing like that, you are not playing music, okay? And this is a musical instrument, and I know that you want to play it, so the worst thing that you can do is stop, okay? So don't stop. Keep that right hand on autopilot. Now, of course, this gets a little bit more complex, okay? But we gave you a couple of examples of songs to integrate. Sorry, a couple sets of chords. So we got G to C add 9, and then also that E minor chord to an A sus2, right? And that's kind of like the first 2 chords to it's a Tears for Fears song that was later covered and featured in Donnie Darko, the movie. Anyways, Mad World, that's the song. Mad World. Sorry guys, thanks for bearing with me as I sung through that one. Mad World, that was covered by Gary Jules, I think that's his name, but it was originally a Tears for Fears song. Let me know if you guys know that movie Donnie Darko. That's where I first heard it. Anyways, so yeah, so we've got some songs going on here. So we've got this G to C add 9, and like I said, things get a little bit more advanced because we're going to go to this D chord, okay, and then we're going to hop into the Green Day song and the other song, Van Morrison. And I also want to talk about bar chords here. And of course, any other questions you guys have, keep those comments coming in. Any questions that come up, if you want me to go over something specific, we can do that because we're live. Okay. So, so we got this D chord. Now, anchor fingers, okay? Find anchor fingers, and that's why we're really focusing on this G, C, and D thing, because what's all in common? Watch my third finger when I strum through those 3 chords. Okay? Don't lift that third finger up. Keep it glued to the fretboard throughout these 3 chords, okay? So if we get this down, now this concept of leaving the chord early to get to the next chord on time, the secret to changing chords and how to change guitar chords quickly, this is when this really comes into play, because we need to go down, down, up, down, fly everything off except that third finger. Yes, strum random open notes, okay? I know it sounds crazy, but at full speed, it just sounds like strumming guitar. You don't notice this sound in between. So, because check it out. Did you hear it? No, it happened way too fast for you to even process it, right? But for us to physically go from this chord to this chord, we need to do that. So let's just practice this chord change. We'll go from C add 9 to D. And now, watch what I'm doing with this D chord. Instead of taking off a finger, I'm adding that pinky finger. Okay? And that's one of the very few exceptions to the secret to changing chords, you know, which I keep on emphasizing, leaving the chord early, like flying your fingers off so you can get to the next chord on time. Well, when you're on a D chord and going to either C add 9 or a G, because they are essentially the same chord shape as we talked about, what we want to do is actually add on a finger, which gives that kind of like right, it gives that like that lift to a D sus4. Right, it really has that resolve. And so that's what really sets up that chord change super, super nicely. So if we practice that, we got, and let's just go from the D to the G. And that will get you playing What I Got by Sublime. So, you know, something like, now, if we go back to our the other one, down, down, up, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, add on, and then strum it out. And then lift off, right, to get to the D. Okay? Okay. And so that, my friends, is the secret of changing chords, okay, and how to change chords quickly. And there's some great little sequences for you to just cycle back and forth using one of the most classic strum patterns ever. And so last week we learned Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. And what else did we learn with that same pattern? I guess we all have to go check out last week's live lesson because I can't even remember. Anyways, so let's talk about how to play. Let's go through Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl. So of course we got this intro, and I'm almost certain that he plays it right here. Anyways, you'll find a tab for this on the internet. We're not going to really focus on this. Big thing is just to make sure you have that space, right? I'm on the G string and E string. Right, so there I'm not playing the B string. So these little shapes are called sixths. Okay, so let's talk about the chords here. So we've got this down, down, up, up, to C, G, to D. Okay, so hopefully you're prepared for this by now. So we've got G to C to G to D to G to C to G, D. Wherever we go. Right, so we've got that Brown Eyed Girl line by Van Morrison. Okay, and the only change in that song is when you, instead of going to the G, you start on a C, to D, to G, to E minor, back to C, to D, to G, to D, and then we start that cycle again. So the biggest thing there is to remember to start on a C chord for the next part. So as mentioned, we go G, to C, to G, to D, right? And that's the cycle right there, okay? So G, to C, to G, D. part. Let's go to the C chord. To D, to G, to E minor, again to C, right? We start on C, to D, to G. Skip the E minor back and go to D. Na, 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 na. And the na-na-nas come in. Okay, so that in a nutshell is a great tune to practice these chords, right? So make sure that you're lifting off from the G to C, and then lifting off from the C to the D, right? Oh no, sorry, we go from the G. So make sure you're lifting off from the G to the D, right? But then when you're getting back from the D, then we're hitting that pinky finger on. So we're actually adding a finger early so we can get back to the G on time, right? So that's that cycle. And then the whole pre-chorus and the chorus is you just want to start on the C chord instead of starting on the G chord. That will always line you up, and hopefully your ear will align to get to these next chords. And there's a little, you can do a little bum bum bum. That's super classic, very classic move. So back to C, to D, to G. Yeah, and Chris says that the E minor 7 sounds good with those chords too. So yeah, and it's kind of like that idea of the C add 9, like the C add 9 or C major. You know, E minor is kind of synonymous with an E minor 7, you know, but certainly they just have a different tone. And what was I gonna say? We got G to C, D. Oh yeah. So speaking about synonymous chords, this D major chord, what you can actually do, especially in Brown Eyed Girl, is hit this D7. It's literally like if you were to take your D major 7 and flip it upside down. Okay, you make like this pyramid shape, right? So you've got you've got the base of your pyramid on the G and E string, and then the tip of your pyramid is on the first fret of the B string. Right? So that has a really nice sound in Brown Eyed Girl. And certainly that same chord change technique that I'm talking about, leaving that chord early to get to the next chord on time, it certainly applies there. Okay? 108, Run the Gate. Good to see you, man. You were on the call last week. How can I forget that name? It rhymes. Okay, and Babs Turner. Hey ya, from Rockford, Illinois. Cool. Advice for hyperextending thumb when playing too long. So do you mean, Babs, that your left thumb is hyperextending this way? By the way, apparently my thumb really bends a lot, like quite far and farther than most people's. Does your thumb go like this, or am I weird? Okay. So, and yeah, so when you get your thumb in the back of the neck, and actually, Babs, as we're talking about this, I think I do have the answer to this. So, you know, when you do have your thumb in the back of the neck, I find that that's really more so when you're playing chords, right? So as you can see, my thumb has disappeared. You can't see my thumb. Right? Can't see my thumb. Because I need that thumb in the back of the neck in order for me to activate. Right? Sorry, I hope you could see that. So yeah, so I'm like rotating my hand through my thumb. So I get that thumb bending backwards like that, right? And the hyperextension, okay? And, but here's the thing, man. And also bar chords. That's another time that you want to have your thumb in the back of the neck, okay? But you know what? It's actually better to have your thumb up here. So Babs, I think that that's really the answer to your question. To, you know, if your thumb is kind of like hyperextending that way and you're pressing into it a little too hard for too long, eventually what you want to get going on is getting your thumb up here. So check it out. When I'm strumming chords, you can see my thumb the whole time, right? Before I said my thumb disappeared. Well, now you can see my thumb the whole time, right? So, and that has all kinds of advantages. First of all, it just gets your palm into the back of your neck, okay? So then it's just kind of a more relaxed position. So instead of, again, squeezing your thumb into the back of the neck for everything that you do, it's actually more comfortable to have kind of more of the palm shape, like just kind of cupping that neck shape, right? And it's not totally, it depends on your neck shape and on, but certainly like this part of my thumb, you know, like this part, that's like fitting right into the crease of my hand, into the back of the neck, okay? But check it out, when we play a C chord, it has an extra added benefit aside from being comfortable. Check it out, my thumb is actually touching this low E string and muting it, okay? So is my third finger, okay? So what that means, and if you don't know this already, you want to only strum 5 strings on your C chord, not 6. So, but if I accidentally strum it, I've got my third finger covering it, and I've got my thumb touching it to make sure it's completely never going to ring by accident, okay? So that's just one example, but like your F chord would be similar. Or, this is the kind of next level, just hitting down that thumb and getting some of these bass notes going on. You know, Chris has mentioned the D over F sharp. So what that is, if you go ahead and dial up your D major chord, if you bring up and over your thumb, like your thumb should be there anyways, well, just thumb that second fret of your low E string, okay? That's a great, great chord. That's right in Wish You Were Here. So when you start strumming the chords, that's the second chord, like once the vocals come in, is this chord D major with the F sharp in the bass. And you get to mute the A string in that case. Anyways, that's kind of like, we did a little staircase there. So first step, just start getting used to your thumb being over here, the neck fitting right into this crease of your thumb and first finger. Start getting comfy with that. See if you can find some comfort in your chord playing there, right? And certainly it's all about comfort, you know, just not bending your thumb and doing some stuff. A lot of beginners certainly need that thumb in the back of the neck, but eventually as you progress, you know, and like I said, that's the first step that you want to start doing, okay? Next step is see if you can start using it as a muting thing. So on your D chord, for instance, just have it touching that low E string. Just in case you strum it, you got that E string covered, okay? And we talked about some other things. And then the next step after that is some of these thumb chords. So we use the example of a D with an F sharp in the bass, okay? Okay, and this kind of gets into the Hendrix kind of chords. Okay, anyways, that was my best attempt. And you said, no, it doesn't. It's more in the tendon. So maybe I just totally didn't answer your question at all. But gosh dang it, man, I tried. Anyways, hopefully that still helped some of you guys out there with your chords, okay? So so in terms of playing a song start to finish, I really think that Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl is certainly one of those attainable ones. It's got that super hooky guitar part. Right? As soon as that thing comes in, it's like Sweet Child of Mine or, you know, or whatever. There's so many, like, just it's one of those iconic guitar songs, guitar riffs. And then it's got this great strumming pattern that's actually pretty attainable, especially if you're trying to get into chords, right? And just, you know, you don't have to take it so fast. We can take it this fast. Like, this is still a song. I don't know which one, but it's just Brown Eyed Girl nice and slow, right? And just get all those chord techniques down that you can, that we talked about, leaving the chord early. And then on the D chord, adding on that finger to get back into the cycle, right? And then of course the pre-chorus, C. You could play that D7 if you want. You, my brown-eyed girl. In comes the na-na-na-na-na-na-nas. Oniki, I am in Calgary, Canada. Where are you based? In 108, Run the Gate is going to start asking me if I can play certain songs. He did this last time, and I actually knew most of them. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. All right. So, and now the next tune that I wanted to talk about was Time of Your Life. And actually, speaking about 108 Run the Gate, he was on the call, and I think that maybe this was part of his song request. He was saying, hey, can you play Time of Your Life or something? Or we got to Time of Your Life, and I was like, that's such a great chord strumming song. So, and it actually follows the same chord, like a very similar chord sequence as Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl. So we still got that G to C, G to D. It's still got a very iconic guitar intro, okay? And when you're doing this guitar intro on the G, C, and D, what you want to just make sure that you got going on is get that right hand planted, okay? That's the only difference. So instead of strumming, when we got our right hand going on, when you're playing single notes, okay? This is one of the biggest things that that we teach and we share that has helped so many people, okay? So perk up your ears is when you're playing single notes, whether that's a riff. Look at my right hand. I'm not floating anymore. I'm connected to the guitar, okay? Whenever you're playing scales, look at my right hand, connected to the guitar, right? Okay? And whenever I'm doing any kind of one note at a time type of deal, even though we're kind of like making several notes happen, but I'm only hitting one note at a time. Or any of that kind of picking, like, you know, the Green Day song, Time of Your Life. It's actually called Good Riddance, isn't it? Called Good Riddance. In brackets, Time of Your Life. I believe that's the actual song title. But anyway, so for that song, what you want to do is he's actually hitting more than one string at a time. But what I'm getting at here is get your right hand planted, okay? If it's not obvious already, okay? So that's really, you know, hit us up at campfireguitarstar.com, you know, and if you want a tab for that, I can, you know, track a good one down for you. But, you know, just go to ultimate-guitar.com, find a tab. It's going to be super easy to find a tab. But what I want to focus on is just that chord changing, right? So we've got boom, ba ba da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. So we've got that same idea of G, but we're going to strum each of these chord sequences twice around. Similarly to Sweet Child of Mine, if you caught the live lesson last week, where we go on the same strum pattern, same three chords, but you want to do it twice through the sequence. So we go G, G, right? So there's that strum pattern again, right? Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, and that's the sequence that you want to get going on. So 2 times through each chord, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Yeah, and so a bunch of the same chords. It's like practically the same song, but you know as well as I that there's basically no similarity between Van Morrison and Green Day. You know, they're different bands from different eras, different styles, but they're using the same rhythms and the same chords. Okay, and I think that's one of the greatest things about once you learn some of these basics about guitar is that like just how transferable a lot of this stuff is, you know, and sometimes it just comes down to, you know, are you playing acoustic? Are you playing electric? Are you playing a Fender guitar, Gibson style guitar? Are you playing with distortion? Are you playing clean? You know, there's so much tonal variance that you can get with the same bunch of chords, okay? Okay, guys, so I have one more thing that I want to show you in today's lesson, just for you guys that are into bar chords. So is there anybody out there struggling with bar chords and specifically switching and strumming bar chords? Let me know. Because and then also, when, so right after I show you this technique here, these 4 chords to this Bryan Adams song, I'll open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions at all about guitar, about music, about, you know, what we're doing at Campfire Guitar Star, or anything that you think that I might be able to help you with guitar, hey man, that's why we're live. I'm here to help you and support you in guitar. So you guys are chilling with me right here. So you must have a guitar in your lap or a guitar nearby. So if you do have questions about guitar or what we're doing here at Campfire Guitar Star, do let me know. And speaking about that, guys, and I just remembered I'm wearing the Campfire Guitar Star shirt. So if you guys dig our brand, if you think that what we've been doing here on the YouTube channel has been helpful to you at all, definitely check out the merch store. You'll see the t-shirts. I guess it's probably not on this video right here, but if you go to any of our videos on the YouTube channel, you'll see all the links below for any kind of merch that you might be able to buy. So anyways, we're just keeping it nice and clean and simple with the logo here. And yeah, so I think they turned out all right. Okay, so keep those, get those questions coming in. And what I wanted to show you was the pre-chorus to Bryan Adams' song, Summer of '69. Okay, so we're not gonna go over the, I'll just play it though. No, that's not it. And this is the part that we're going to go into. So a B minor bar chord, which is going to be your bar chord shape off the 5th string, your minor shape. Okay, this guy right here. So this is what you want to gear up.